All right. Well, hello, everyone. I am so happy and excited to introduce you to Annie today with Annie Taylor Design. She is the mother of three fun boys, and I was so excited when I found her online, and she graciously offered to share her mom first career of stationery design with us. So thank you so much, Annie. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. So how did you discover your love for creating stationery?
Back in college, I have a graphic design degree. Back in college, it took me a little while to find my niche and what I wanted to do. I knew it was going to be something in the arts and graduated with a graphic design degree and started right out of college designing wedding invitations for friends. And it's just rolled into stationery for kids and moms and snowballed from there.
That's exciting. So, how did you actually? So, it sounded like some people saw what you were doing and were asking for your help. So, at what point did you actually leverage these skills into an actual business for yourself?
So I was working full time at a gourmet food company and doing these paper invitation designs sort of as my side hustle. And then I believe it was when I first got pregnant with my first baby, I wanted to leave that day job and see if I could give the side hustle a bigger chance. And then in the hopes that it would turn into this job while I was home with the baby. And that all happened. It was awesome.
That is awesome. Was it something that kind of gradually and slowly happened, or do you feel like everything just fell into place for you and made it easier for you? I know for some moms it's some ways, and for some it's others.
Easy is not the word I would use.
Right?
I was pretty driven because it gave me such satisfaction to be doing what I love to do, which was designing on my computer and in the comfort of my own home. And, my baby was right there. I could work while he was napping or, keeping him busy. Um, so no, it was really more just a love for finally finding what I was good at and wanting to make it work.
That's wonderful. So, what do you think were some of your first steps? Did you just start an online platform? Did you start with a blog? What were those like noticeable steps that you took that might help teens who are interested in something similar to this?
When I started, social media didn't exist yet, which I realize ages me. But now I just started another part of my business and I jumped right on social media with it because that is such a wonderful platform to get your message out there. So, and asking friends to share it. And truly, that has taken my business to the next level in the last 10 years. But yeah, I would start with a blog so people can sort of understand your voice and make a connection to you and understand your your why did you start this, what's your passion. I think that's a really big part of any business that's going to be successful is you want your customer to understand you and relate to you and you want to try to solve a problem for them. So yeah, from a blog to social media, I think those are two really great first steps.
That's great. And explain a little bit more about your concept and your passion and your design with stationery. I jumped online and saw all the wonderful things that you create, but for someone who hasn't met you or seen what you do, explain a little bit more about that for us.
So my biggest customer is definitely a fellow mom and teachers. I have three boys ages 8, 10, and no, sorry, 8, 10. Yeah, 8, 10, and 12. Hard to keep track. Um, so they're a huge part of how my business has evolved. And I, especially right now during this crazy self-isolation time, I have so much respect for their teachers, but I'm constantly creating products that help women connect with others and kids, teaching kids the importance of connection and writing a handwritten note and thank you notes and gratitude. So Um, does that answer your question? I sort of talked in a circle there, but
Yeah, that's great. And tell us a little bit about Grat Kids as well.
yeah, so Grata Kids is from, putting together the word gratitude in kids. It's teaching, I'm wearing my t-shirt today,
Oh,
teaching
yeah.
teaching kids gratitude through action. And I'm a big proponent of, not just talking the talk, but walking the walk, and teaching my kids about community service and giving back and showing gratitude and thankfulness. So it started with a after school program. I started at their school on Fridays after school. Each week we would take one of my Annie Taylor design products, whether it was kids thank you notes or my kindness notes that I've designed or some of the wall art, and we decorated the school. But each week there was a different focus on who we were doing a kindness project for. So we made lunches and included kindness notes for the homeless and delivered them the next day. And um, so much of it has changed in the last few years, carved around what I want to teach my kids.
I
So,
love that. And that's perfect. And I love how a lot of your posts, you see the kids in the moment with you and writing letters or creating those little packs for the teachers. It's so wonderful. And it's so wonderful to be influencing the world while holding the hands of your kids. It's just beautiful. And I hope that it inspires a lot of teens to do something similar to that as well.
yeah.
So, on those same lines, what type of education or training would you recommend for girls who want to lead more into this industry and possibly have an online shop or something that they can create? Do you feel like your education and did you say graphic design
And yep.
was helpful?
Oh, 100%. I wasn't a great student, honestly, and it took me, some maturity to figure out what I wanted to do and what I was good at. And um, once I found it, I'm, so incredibly grateful. But I would say uh, education is number one, but you can also start that as early as you want to, just hopping online, and there's so many courses you could take online. But then for me, what really makes my business more successful is finding um, finding ways that connect my business to other people in a helpful way. So it's not about making money. It's about serving a purpose and fulfilling a need. And then it will turn into a business down the road if you really live by that mantra. So,
Right.
I never went out to, become a millionaire with this business, and I'm not, of course, but as long as my passion stays with what's important to me, the business keeps growing.
So, do you feel like you knew as a high schooler that graphic design was the route that you wanted to go? Did do you feel like there was something that kind of pushed you into that right path that kind of helped you along the way?
I knew I was more right brained, so all the arts and languages was what much stronger subjects for me than math and science. So I knew I would end up going in that direction. But I didn't really, the best advice I could give, I have a high school senior as my niece right now, and trying a lot of different things. Like there's no reason to jump right in and just commit to that as a teenager. Keep trying. And I tried all different majors and subjects, and it took traveling abroad to really focus in on what I wanted to do with my life. So, sample it all, try it all, and see where your passion lies, see what you're drawn to.
Yeah. Definitely. I think that's great advice. And I think it's helpful for moms like you to share a little bit of your experience and wisdom with the teens out there so they can just get a little bit of exposure and experience to as many options as possible to kind of help them find that right path for them. Because I do strongly believe that there's something special for everyone out there, and it's just a matter of tuning in and finding that.
Yeah.
Um, Tell us a little bit about the flexibility. I'm assuming as a mom that you are so grateful for the flexibility of owning your own business and how it allows you to be the mom that you want to be. Um, Tell us a little bit how that has blessed you.
Yeah, I've always wanted to be the mom that could go into school and help out and volunteer. And I also knew I wanted to work. So having my own business allows me to do both of those things. So I am not the most structured, scheduled person, but I found that I need that in order to carve out the time for my business and then also for my kids and my family. And I honestly, I don't think I could go back to a 9 to 5 office job. I've just loved the flexibility and, you know, it's, it's scary too. I mean, having your own business it's not a guaranteed paycheck and it's unsteady at times, but it motivates you to work harder to get to that more stable place. So yeah, I love working at home. I love being home when my kids get off the bus. I love being available if they need me. And I'm also a homebody. I have 3 dogs laying right here that
Yeah.
that get me out of the house and I can walk them during the day. But I don't miss working in an office, that's for sure.
So how much time do you think it took you initially to kind of get everything going? I imagine that it was a lot of effort initially to kind of get things running, unless you just chose that very slow and steady approach so that you had the time to do what you needed to do. Just give us a kind of a feel for how that was for you.
Slow and steady, absolutely. And at times I've had to be talked out of, worrying about that where, because I am a mom and I am at home and I can't work always 40 hours a week. I had to accept that slow organic growth was how I was going to have to run this business. And that's definitely what's happening. Sometimes it's way slower than I'd like, but it's the way it is. And I don't think I would be where I'm at if I had grown things overnight. So I took my time. I did things in phases. I didn't always have a plan. Looking back, I should have probably mapped things out a little bit better, but I landed where I am. If I had gone down the road where I was 10 years ago of just doing wedding invitations, I think I'd be really unhappy. I don't do any of that anymore. I do all stationery for kids and teachers and moms, and because that's where I'm at now in my life and that's what makes me happy. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I would say let it happen organically, but push yourself to keep growing.
Yeah, just put one foot in front of the other, keep moving forward. And I love that everything that you do is just sharing goodness too, because how could you not feel fulfilled and happy and have a life full of joy, when you're doing something like you're doing? So I think that's super incredible, just such a great example.
You.
Um, so, what advice would you give to like-minded teens to know if maybe this is a good fit for them? I know it can be kind of hard running your own business and a lot of stress, and it feels like that you're juggling a lot of different things right now. You're to a point in your business where you have a lot going on. So, do you feel like there's a few specific characteristics that are needed in order to be successful in this particular industry?
I'd say starting with working from home and being an entrepreneur, you really need to hone in on the internal motivation because you don't have a boss that is, hammering down on you with deadlines and dates and coworkers that are even keeping you motivated. You're doing this on your own. So you really need to be self driven and motivated. I'd say number one. As far as the design aspect, gosh, Um, I would say again, really play around and sample in different areas as many as you can to see if graphic design and design in general is something that you're passionate about because you won't have any endurance in this industry if you're not passionate about it.
Great advice. So what are the hardest parts and the most rewarding parts of this industry and this job for you?
I think you just mentioned it that there's so much negativity out there. And, when I was a teen, there was no such thing as social media. And I
Right.
truly can't imagine how hard that is. I have my son's turning 13 next month, and already it's just the online stuff it's tough. So, um, I would say, I'm sorry, can you repeat what your question was? I sort of talked in
Just
circles.
just your least and most favorite, maybe the hardest parts of this job for you, and then the most favorite parts of this job
Okay.
for you.
So I was leading to the most favorite part is just putting positivity out there,
Yes.
and hopefully teaching my kids that that's important, not the negative stuff online. Least favorite part, oh, I think I've touched on my lack of organization and scheduling, and that's really hard for me. I mean, that's something I have to schedule time for, to get a print order out. And I would say that self motivation it's very easy to, especially working from home, to go do the dishes that are in the sink rather than sit myself down and get a job done. So I'd say the hardest part is keeping myself disciplined working at home.
So what does a typical day look for you when maybe the kids are at school? Like, we're not dealing with what's going on right now. If the kids are at school, how do you kind of structure your day? What does it look like if there was a teen that was just kind of curious? Like, they're probably thinking of all the fun parts of designing these beautiful stationery pieces and not necessarily thinking about everything that's involved behind the scenes.
Yeah, that is the fun part. So I first try to always get myself ready like I might be going to an office. I've noticed that's a huge motivator for me. If I sit around in my pajamas all day, I don't get as much done.
Yeah.
Um, but a big part of the day, I sort of chunk it up, is handling my marketing, whether do almost everything through social media now, setting up a blog posts and emails several times a week, um, packing and shipping orders. I never estimate well how long that's going to take me, and that's a big part of my week.
Mhm.
um, Making deliveries, setting up local pickup orders, getting the print orders out. I mean, there's a lot of steps, but luckily I enjoy most of it. And then the design part is really, why I started this whole thing, is not as much of my day as I'd like, but that's my favorite part, where I get to be creative and get going on some fun designs and brainstorming and all that. So, you got to work hard and find joy where you can, make the daily mundane tasks fun somehow.
So, what do you think would be a realistic investment? Let's say there's a teen out there who's watching this and just maybe wants to test out the waters and get things started while they're still in high school, just to kind of see what's going on. Do you think that this is something that they can just put a little bit of money into and slowly build up? Or is this something you need to have a reserve fund stashed away before you can even get going on a business like this?
I think it's crucial now, if you want to get into graphic design, to have the Adobe suite. But being a student, I believe you can get access free through your school. So, I
Okay.
mean, that is huge. And then it's just, there's YouTube videos upon YouTube videos of teaching you how, but really I'm trying to teach my kids at a young age just to give them the skill set, because and it's fun, but just play around on it, on InDesign, on Illustrator, on Photoshop. Those are all invaluable skills that you will never regret having, even if you choose not to go down this road of graphic design. So I would look up ways you can get free access to the Adobe Creative Suite and just start playing around. That's
That's
huge.
perfect. And then I was just, as you were talking about that, I was just thinking how a lot of us have like little local farmers markets where they have that section where like kids and teens can have their little booths and set up. So maybe they could even do something fun like that to get a feel for it.
Absolutely. Or set up an Etsy shop that's free just to
Yeah.
see if there's any sort of, you know, need for what you're creating or putting out there.
Yeah,
So
that's even a better idea. I love that. Well, perfect. Do you have any last words of advice for any teens out there, any watchers that you would like to send out before we wrap up this interview today?
just follow your heart and don't get locked into something so early and feel like you can't change your mind. I mean, I was a late bloomer in all aspects, but in my career, and there's
Mhm.
nothing that would make me happier that I'm doing other than what I'm doing right now. So don't be discouraged if you don't know what you want to do at 16 years old. You know, most people don't.
Yeah.
So
That's true. Well, thank you, Annie. I appreciate your time. I'm so happy for your success and that you found something that you're passionate about and you can share that with those around you. I will be sure to add some links and some ways for people to contact you so they can check out your work. And I just love what you're doing. So I want to share that with everyone I know as well so they can support you and spend some time really reaching out and connecting with others. So thank you
well,
again, Annie, for your time today. Appreciate it so much.
I'm glad you found me. Thank you so much for reaching out.
All right. Have a good day. Bye bye.